I'm Josh.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nemo.
And we just nerd here. Welcome to We Just Nerd Here. I'm Josh, and before we get into today's episode, I wanted to take a moment to let everyone know some exciting news. This Saturday, June 2nd, me, Lisa, and Nemo will all be appearing at the Utah Podcasting Summit. Not in an official capacity, just as attendees, but if any of you live in the Salt Lake City area and are interested in going to the event, we'd love for you to come up and say hi, and maybe pick up some We Just Nerd Here swag that we've made especially for this event. Don't worry, we won't just be giving out this swag at the event this weekend. We'll also make some of it available to our followers on Twitter, as well as our patrons on Patreon. So if you haven't already, head on over to patreon.com/WeJustNerdHere and join our nerd crew. We've got some really fun rewards there for anyone who wants to join. And if Patreon's not your thing, then follow us on Twitter, where you can get the latest show updates and join the conversation with us. We'd love to hear from all of you. We're doing this just for fun, but we have met some amazing people over the past couple months since we started doing this show. In fact, today's episode is dedicated to Dr. Ian Punnett, the occasional host of Coast to Coast AM, and one of my favorite men in radio. I don't normally reach out to people through social media, but I felt like our Roswell episode was right up Dr. Punnett's alley, so I sent him a link to the show, and he actually listened to it, which was fantastic. A huge honor for me and the rest of the crew here at We Just Nerd Here. Dr. Punnett, this episode is dedicated to you. In fact, I probably wouldn't even be familiar with the subject of today's show if it weren't for an episode that Dr. Punnett hosted way back in November of 2008 with a Louisiana author by the name of Edward T. Haslam. I don't want to name the book right now because it gives away some of the fun that we have ahead in part 2, but let me just say that it is an exciting theory and probably one that most of you aren't familiar with. If you've ever looked into the JFK assassination theory, you've all heard of the Mafia, the Cubans, the Russians, the CIA, but this theory takes it in a whole different direction, and we hope that you enjoy it. We're doing something a little different this time around to celebrate our 9th and 10th episodes. We've decided to do a drunk conspiracy show. For this one, I got drunk and tried to explain things to Nemo and Lisa, and we'll see how that goes. If you like what you hear, please leave us a comment on Twitter, or even better, a review on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen, really. We have had so much fun doing these first 10 episodes, and we don't intend on stopping anytime soon. For those of you worried that we might be doing a few too many conspiracy shows, fear not. Our next episode, which premieres 2 weeks from today, is all about TV shows that were canceled before their time. We hope you've liked the last couple of 2-part episodes. Sometimes we get so involved in a subject that we just keep talking and lose track of time. That about does it for right now. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, part 1 of our JFK Assassination Theory special. Tune in next week for part 2. We don't like it when podcasts keep us waiting too long to release a second part. So for the last couple of episodes, we've skipped our usual bi-weekly release schedule, and we're bringing you each part one after the other. For the month of June, we'll be back to our regular bi-weekly schedule, and then we'll see what happens in July. Before I go, I just want to give one more shout out to Dr. Punnett. Thank you again for everything. And a shout out to one of our patrons, our good friend Mr. Butt. He provided us with some amazing sound editing equipment. I don't know what we did to deserve him as a fan and a friend, but thank you again. We also need to thank Mr. Raleigh Canaday. I hope I pronounced that last name right. Raleigh, if I didn't, you can kick me. He came up with some really cool fan art for the show, a really nice 8-bit logo with some color. It looks great on some of the merch that we'll be giving out this weekend at that podcasting summit. We hope all of you enjoy listening to the show even half as much as we enjoy putting it together for you. Nemo, Lisa, and I go on some amazing adventures sometimes. This podcasting summit is probably going to be another one. And don't worry, we will tell you all about it on a future episode. Until then, grab a drink, relax, and enjoy falling down the rabbit hole with us as we bring you JFK, What's the Big Dealey, Part 1.
Star Wars.
We had blaster fire burgers and
a 2-moon skillet thingy.
Yeah, the 2-moon skillet. And then we had the blaster fire burgers and those
cosmic
those cosmic tater tots. Those are like little moons that you put in your mouth and just nibble on.
Cosmic tater tots?
Yeah.
You mean the bacon cheddar tots?
Yeah.
Cosmic tater tots.
I think Lisa was referencing the cosmic Pop Rocks.
Yeah.
Oh.
That you put in your milkshake and then you stupidly put in your soda.
Hey, I was hoping that it was going to make things pop, but it just stuck to the side.
Strawberry banana. Those were the best Pop Rocks I have had.
They were really good Pop Rocks.
Yeah, they were really good.
But it sucks is that it goes all the way to like the bottom of your milkshake, though. At least with me and Josh. It's at the very end. Dude, is that...
Yeah, you need to go flip the toilet.
Yeah, I was like, it's going on forever.
So, you're going to have to stick your hand in and like pull it up. I'm sorry, I have a ghetto toilet.
There you go, buddy.
You fixed it. Why is it murky?
Yeah.
We have very oxygen-rich water out here. Like, if you were to fill a cup with water, it would have oxygen bubbles in it and be kind of murky. Welcome to Tooele.
Is that good or bad?
I'm indifferent to it. It's just the way the water is.
Josh yet.
It's gross.
Oh my god, is all the air in my water making me fat?
Oh my gosh, you need to be burped.
Is that why I look like this?
He needs to be burped.
Lay me over your lap and burp me.
Only a real true Sandinian can do that to you.
Only someone from White City can save me.
I wasn't born there, so I can't save you. But dude, this thing is like potent. It's stronger than the...
What's potent? Oh, the Irish coffee?
The alcohol, it's so strong in this. It's even stronger than the one that you made me upstairs.
I don't think it is.
No, dude,
there is less alcohol content in that coffee.
I don't know
right
what
now.
it is that you put in there. That little pumpkin spice is a lie. Those white girls, they know what they like. And now we know why.
They know what they like.
No. Today, on the recommendation of, well, not necessarily recommendation of, but on the heels of The Sexy Armpit and Dinosaur Dracula, we went to Denny's and tried their new Solo, a Star Wars movie menu. Nemo had the 2-moon skillet, which, how was it?
It was like, alright. The way that the podcast that we were listening to, the purple stuff, the way they described it, it actually looked really good, though, when it came out.
Yeah, I feel like the presentation on this one was a lot different than what they had.
Maybe they listened to their podcast.
Probably. If Denny's was smart, they were listening to purple stuff. But yeah, I felt like your eggs were on one side and then the cheese was on the other. And it wasn't like just glopped on there. It was drizzled.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
It just wasn't hot. There was no kick to it. It was just...
Well, yours wasn't supposed to be spicy.
No, but you know like how... Usually, like even with your guys' burgers, they added a new sauce. They gave it a kick. They gave it the name.
There's nothing special about it.
I just feel like if you're gonna go off of a movie and like create something for that movie, you'd add like a different recipe or a different ingredient that would give it that pizzazz. You know, like that reason why you want to buy it.
A razzle dazzle.
A razzle dazzle. A floof floof.
A floof floof.
A nice little floof. You know, you got a little puff.
Okay.
There you go. A little puff from Nemo.
Did you know what a floof floof was?
You know, you gotta like fluff it up. You know, like
it's a razzle dazzle.
No, you know, like you have to like fluff up something, like to make it better. Like you fluff up your pillow to make a nice extra song. You know, like give it that little extraness.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But Lisa and I had the Blaster Fire Burger, which was a bacon cheeseburger with ghost pepper sauce.
But not just a sauce. It was like a thick...
It was like a marinara sauce.
Yeah, it was thick.
a really thick marinara
a
sauce that was
lot.
just super spicy. And it's like grandma took a ladle and put a ladle of this ridiculous sauce on the burger. Like, it wasn't just there to give it a kick.
It looked like thick sriracha. Like
So,
marinara
like,
sauce is like,
well, it depends on the
consistency.
it depends on the
No.
family making the marinara.
because like when you showed us your bun or anything, it looked like
Okay,
a
Mr.
thick layer of like
Literally.
red mayo or something like that.
Yeah, there was
you know?
like a centimeter's worth of sauce on Lisa's bun.
Yeah, I scraped it off.
And
'cause
slopped it on
was
Nemo's
so
2
much.
moons.
I think if they added the amount that they added in yours, it probably would have been hotter. Like I probably would have had maybe a problem. Maybe. I don't know.
Would you have cried like you cried at Buffalo Wild
That was
Wings?
different. Those wings were different. She sabotaged that little fry sample. Dude, that was only one wing in, and I was crying.
It was fantastic.
I don't know how those children knew it.
Yeah, like you see the little 5-year-olds that do the wing challenge at Buffalo Wild Wings. Nemo
Mhm.
did their 11 challenge, and he cried after the first wing.
No, I couldn't finish it. I couldn't finish them.
Oh wow.
No. So it's a little sample she gave me that we tried with the fries. Like, oh, this isn't nothing. I'm Indian.
Yeah.
This is nothing. This is probably what I had when I was a kid. And the minute she brought out the wings, no, they looked like they doused them. Though.
Oh, yeah. No, they...
No, that was like a thick layer, like your little bun. It's like each wing had that consistency, and you can't do it unless you're a 5-year-old kid who has no fear.
I feel like I would do it if I could prep the wings first. Like, if I didn't have to eat them off the bone right away and just, like, ripped them off the bone and then just started eating the meat really quickly, I could do it.
So before the flavor set into your tongue,
Exactly. I would
like,
just have to
vacuum
swallow
it
the
up.
chicken whole.
You just need like a bowl of water to dip it in, like they do with kimchi.
This
Why
is
do they
not a
dip it
hot
in
dog
water?
eating contest.
Wait, why do they?
No, they dip the kimchi because it's so spicy that to wash off some of the spice.
Why do they even make it so spicy then?
Because kimchi is spicy.
Yeah.
Why do they not have ranch
In
Oh
Japan.
my gosh.
in Japan?
Okay, kimchi is Korean.
Well, I know kimchi's Korean, but
But do they not have ranch there?
it's also very popular in
Do
Japan.
It is. Very
Do we need to tell them about Hidden Valley Ranch?
Yes, we
The
do.
problem is Hidden Valley is in the DMV, or DMZ, so
Oh,
the Koreans
the
can't get
zone.
there.
So is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So neither side gets Hidden Valley Ranch.
No one in Korea will get ranch until there's peace.
Jesus, they're missing out on the world's greatest invention.
That's the only bargaining chip the West has had.
The world's greatest invention.
We were literally at the Leonardo today, looking at some of the world's greatest inventions.
I couldn't even figure out one of them.
Okay, so welcome to We Just Nerd here. You've been listening to us describe the Solo, a Star Wars movie, or that Star Wars Solo movie menu from Denny's. We went on a little adventure today. We're not going to talk about it for too long, but we went and tried this menu, which Matt and Jay did, and it was pretty good. I liked my burger, even though that sauce was it was overpowering. Like, my burger, I couldn't taste the burger. All I could taste was the spice.
At
and the
least you guys
occasional-
finished it,
Yeah.
right? You both
Oh, yeah.
finished it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
finished it. Like, I was
I
hungry.
needed a side of ranch to finish mine, but
The greatest invention, apparently.
yeah, it works.
But then, we each got a different type of milkshake and added Pop Rocks to them, which was one of their Solo gimmicks. Then we each got one of the ridiculous Millennium Falcon cups.
But they didn't have your Chewbacca.
They didn't have my Chewbacca cup. I had to, and people are going to yell at me for saying this, I had to settle for Lando. Nemo got Han, Lisa got Lando, and I wanted Chewie because I'm the furry one in the group. Even though I'm follically challenged up north. Still the hairiest one in the room. You haven't seen me without a shirt.
Yeah, I have. My birthday.
Oh, yeah. At the
No,
I
lake.
think we're
Your
the
birthday
same.
at the lake.
Just to clarify.
There was no special birthday striptease for Nemo last year. This year, it's not for a few more months.
That was the worst birthday. Well, it was a fun birthday, but I ended up destroying Doggin's phone and destroying the cake.
That was my favorite part. We were there for like 5 minutes at the reservoir, and he dropped his birthday cake face down in the dirt.
I did hear about
Okay, no. It was on the edge of some boxes. I didn't see where my leg was going. Knocked the box. I kept a little Ariel doll as a memento.
He had a little mermaid cake. So his sister planned this surprise party. And I think we'll talk about that on another episode, because this is already going to be probably a double-length episode. On the heels of our episode about Roswell and all of the amazing feedback we got from all of you, Nemo has requested that we do another conspiracy episode with him. And if you recall at the end of the Roswell episode, we mentioned JFK, and Nemo said, wait, what about JFK? So today we're going to talk about the JFK assassination conspiracy.
So the only things that, just so we let the audience know what I know, the only things that I know is that, from what I've heard, that it was staged. They wanted to kill him. The person who killed him, they hired him, the CIA or whatever agency wanted to kill JFK, so it was planned. The second thing I've heard is that the person was related to JFK. I didn't believe that one at all. Yeah, those are the only two that I've actually heard. I've heard that it was staged, or that the person was related or something in some way to JFK.
I've heard that there was a second shooter, like the whole grassy knoll thing, but...
And for this episode, Lisa actually has pretty limited knowledge on the whole JFK conspiracy, so we're going to be introducing some things to both of them for the first time today. We wish Haley could have come out and joined us, but we didn't plan on doing this until literally the last second. After we went to Denny's, we went to a place called the Leonardo, which is Salt Lake's hands-on science-y museum. Right now they've got a pretty kick-ass display on aviation, as well as a Lego exhibit upstairs about city planning that features Salt Lake City landmarks built out of Lego, including one particular model that we are very impressed with and also very proud of, but maybe we're biased. Salt Lake is home to the Cathedral de Madeleine, and it is being recreated in Lego form by one Marianne Asanuma.
That's my sister.
And she is a phenomenal master builder. If you've never seen any of her work, just look up Model Building Girl or type in Marianne Asanuma, and you will find some pretty kick-ass stuff.
Model Building Secrets.
Model Building Secrets, that's it.
It's a beautiful museum in all. You'll learn a lot.
It's fun, but every time I go there, like 3 or 4 of the things I want to do are always broken.
I mean, it's hands-on. It's
right. It's hands-on. Kids break stuff. Adults break stuff. Nemo breaks stuff. I get it. But
I tried.
I really wanted a virtual haircut.
I did too. I thought you like when you were sitting in the seat that you had to actually go all the way back, set it up to you, and then listen to it. But apparently it didn't work at all.
No. So it was, you sat in a barber chair and then pushed an old style arcade button. And I think the window in front of me was supposed to project a barber actually cutting my hair, and the headphones I was wearing was supposed to simulate our conversation and the sound of it. But I think the whole thing was down. It looked like just maybe one half of it was down, but I'm pretty sure the whole thing was busted, so...
No, the cool thing about the museum is that they even take basic artwork, like looking at certain designs and trying to figure out what that picture is, Like the ones where you had those optical illusions where you had to stare at them for enough time and then slowly move back.
They had the magic eye stuff. They had the optical illusion pictures.
And then that you had to use your own physical body to test out certain limits that people have discovered through research and to see if they work or not,
Yeah. Like there was one where we had to stand in a narrow doorway and push out with our hands for 45 seconds. And when we came out, all we could do, our arms, we could fight it, but our arms just naturally wanted to be elevated, as high up as they could go. It was kind of fun. A little unnerving that, my body just wanted to do that, but I kind of wish Nemo and I had had a couple drinks before we went into the Leonardo.
I would have been way too freaked out. What's happening to me?
But Nemo did play, what's that? A theremin. Nemo played a theremin today. We all did, but Nemo was a little better at it than the rest of us.
I think it's
very
amazing.
into it.
Dude, like...
You were really, like... You wanted to, like, lick the pole, I think. Like, just to see what it would do if
what
you
noise will it make?
Yeah. Yeah,
it would have been fun. And we also don't have any reflexes. None of us do.
Yeah, we were testing our reflexes. None of us have knees, apparently. Mine's just dislocated, that's all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't think I have actual knees.
No, you're a robot.
I'm a robot.
Like 30 seconds after Lisa said, "Don't worry, I just read on a sign over here, the zombie apocalypse is impossible." None of us had reflexes, so we're all dead, apparently.
Yay.
I mean...
At least we're not eating
we're on
people
the winning
yet.
side,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Like, the majority of us are obviously...
Or is it like a slow killing disease where slowly you become hungry for people and then you join the dark side?
Is it like Santa Clarita Diet from Netflix? Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
No.
I saw the first season.
Oh, wait, is that one with that wannabe actress, but now she's doing dramas?
It's
Drew Barrymore? Is that her name?
Wow.
Wow. She's
Yeah.
like Hollywood royalty.
Okay, no, she's really good in this movie. I haven't...
I thought it was a show.
Well, show, yeah.
Because don't actors only do shows once they can't make it in the big movies anymore?
No.
No.
It depends on whether
It
they
depends-
like the project.
Yeah, it depends on the project.
Sometimes they can only get cast in certain
Yeah, that's
things.
what I thought.
But yeah, I really like that show, but my problem with Drew Barrymore is no matter what role she's played, she usually looks like she just came out of her trailer from a really big cry. Like she always looks like puffy red eyes, like no matter how much makeup you put on, like if you've had a really bad cry.
I don't get that vibe, but you know, like after you have a big cry, you're like super energetic, like I'm gonna change the world kind of crap. I get that vibe from her. It's like when she comes and plays her scenes, like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how often are you crying? Because that is you every day.
I don't cry.
So much of your life makes sense.
I don't. Maybe a good cry would help.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, if the Roswell episode didn't make you cry, hopefully this one will.
It'll freak me out at least.
So, yeah, that was our adventure at the Leonardo today. I have fun. Like, this is the first Saturday in
I love our
like
Saturdays.
a month that we all three of us have gotten together and actually gone to go do something. So, usually when we record, we either, like, Nemo and Lisa come out to the studio and we have dinner and hang out, watch some shows maybe, then record, and everyone goes home, sometime the next day. But every once in a while, we're lucky enough to go out and actually do something, which today was a lot of fun.
Adventures are the best part. It
Yeah,
allows us to actually hang out and get to know ourselves a little bit better and why this show is here.
yeah. I don't know. I would go back to Denny's. I want to try that 2 Moon skillet,
I want to try the burger, but
but I want to put ghost pepper sauce on my skillet. I think that you would have enjoyed it more with the ghost pepper sauce. Obviously not a shit ton like they put on it, but like maybe a little spoonful, mix it in with the Gouda sauce that they put on it.
I would have changed my eggs though too. I didn't like how it ran all throughout the whole thing.
I
that's
would've
the
loved
best
that.
part.
Maybe it was a Gouda sauce then. It just made it feel like too liquidy at some points.
Mhm.
And I was just like, the consistency isn't there. But I kept eating it because it's
Wait,
delicious.
You had Gouda sauce and that wasn't floofy enough for you?
No, I said it was Well, yeah. It just tasted like a regular thing.
It needed more floof.
Yeah, it needed something. It needed that little kiss.
What
that
did
just changes
Dinosaur
things.
Dracula call those bacon cheddar tots? We have indulgent balls of doom.
What did I call them?
I think you just called them like doomy balls or something.
We literally just said this like 10 minutes ago and I can't remember.
Okay. Whatever.
Whatever.
All right.
Oh my gosh, my brain hurts.
So, can either of you tell me when JFK was assassinated?
I want to say it was...
Was it after the moon landing?
No.
No, it wasn't.
What?
No, he was the one
JFK
that
said, we will put a man on the moon before the end of this
in
decade.
This decade.
He did not make it to the end of that decade.
I thought he saw the moon landing happen and then like...
Well, I mean, maybe he was there when they staged it and filmed it in the soundstage, and that's another conspiracy episode.
No, that can't be a conspiracy.
Okay.
No. Okay,
so
that's a whole different topic.
Are we going to do the moon landing and flat Earth for our next one?
We can do that one on the next one.
Okay.
Okay.
I know nothing about flat Earth other than I think they're crazy, but still fun to listen to.
I still love the guy who actually built his own rocket and tried to get it as far up as he possibly can, and he failed. He couldn't get to the point where you see the curve of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if he still believes in it or not.
All right. So, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the President of the United States, was shot in Dealey Plaza in Texas at 12:30 p.m. on 11/22/1963.
63?
Yes, a full 6 years before
The moon landing.
Yes.
All I know about that day, really, is that my mom was in math class and that she had the hots for her teacher.
She's really going to appreciate that. I'm not cutting it. So
we all had hots for our teachers back then.
Like, recently, it's been... So for the past 55 years, that date and the events surrounding it have been shrouded in conspiracy. Most recently, you might be familiar with Stephen King's work, a novel titled 11/22/63, which was also turned into a Hulu series starring James Franco as a time traveler sent back to 1959, I want to say, or 1960.
Is it to stop the assassination?
To research whether or not Lee Harvey Oswald actually did it, and then either prevent or allow the assassination to happen. I don't want to get into spoilers for that. It's a really amazing book. It was my first Stephen King book, surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, because I don't read a whole lot. I read more than Nemo. I read like a tenth of what Lisa reads. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the book. Being a conspiracy buff, and the Hulu show, I feel like the way they adapted the book to a series was really good as well. So if you haven't checked that out...
I didn't even know that it was out yet.
Yeah, it came out, I think, 2 years ago. So
When did the book come out? When was it published?
I want to say the book's been around for at least 8 years.
8 years? Dang.
But, yeah, I mean, for you, watch the show. For you, read the book. Nemo and Lisa, respectively.
Watching the show.
Well, read the book first, then watch the show.
I can skim up the book, okay?
There isn't a Cliff Notes, okay? You can go to Wikipedia.
I'll find it. I'll figure it out, okay?
I've never read a Stephen King. No, the only Stephen King I've read is his on writing.
What's his on writing?
It's
Stephen King on writing. It's a book that he tells you how to write.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dealey Plaza, 12:30 p.m. on 11/22/63. Shots ring out from supposedly, and I'm going to go over the events as it is said that it happened, or at least to the best of my ability. Yes, the official story.
So this is the one that the government gave out to the people?
So over the years, there have been several different official investigations into the JFK assassination.
So I can understand the fact that there might be other people saying about different conspiracies or different ways that the assassination might have happened, but the main story is still the same, right?
So, yes, the official story hasn't really changed.
Okay.
For the most part. So, 12:30 p.m., shots ring out in Dealey Plaza. Supposedly, one man named Lee Harvey Oswald is on the 6th floor of the Texas Schoolbook Depository with a Mannlicher Carcano rifle, World War II surplus from Italy, that he uses to fire off shots at the JFK motorcade passing through Dealey Plaza in Dallas. In the car is JFK and his wife, Jackie Kennedy, as well as Governor John Connally and his wife. I can't remember her name. As a result of the shots being fired, JFK is mortally wounded. Essentially, his skull is blown out the back. And there is a famous video footage that I'll bring up later from a man named Abraham Zapruder that shows the moment that he gets shot and Jackie frantically climbing on the back of the convertible trying to get something off of the trunk. That's believed to be the back of JFK's skull that she was trying to get.
I knew that.
So did he die instantaneously?
It was essentially an instant kill, but he wasn't pronounced dead until 1 p.m.
Was that when they took him to the hospital?
So JFK is mortally wounded. Governor Connolly is also shot. They take both of them to Parkland Memorial Hospital in Dallas. The surgeons basically say he is gone. So they get to Parkland, they try and resuscitate him, because who knows, maybe they can save him, whatever. At 1 p.m., his official time of death, they say he's gone. Governor Connolly makes full recovery. I can't remember exactly how many bullets they say were fired, but once we get into the conspiracy, there's the idea of the magic bullet theory, where one bullet ricocheted and hit multiple points in JFK and Governor Connolly.
Okay.
Yeah, so the number of
impossible.
So witnesses, we'll get into that. Witnesses say X number of shots were fired or Y number of shots were fired, but the official number doesn't match up to the majority of the number of shots that people say were fired that day.
So people, what they heard.
What they heard. Supposedly, the shots came from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, and eventually we'll find out that the man who they say did that was one Lee Harvey Oswald. And I'll get more into Lee Harvey Oswald's background in a minute, but just know, Lee Harvey Oswald, 6th floor, shots ring out. Within minutes of the shots being fired, he's seen on the 2nd floor of the School Book Depository, not out of breath, calmly drinking a Coca-Cola in a glass bottle, fancy old-timey 60s Coca-Cola, and he looks perfectly normal.
Okay, so the minutes after the shot is fired, they looked towards where the shots were fired, where they heard the sound coming from, and they saw Lee Harvey Oswald on the 2nd floor instead of the 6th. No one ever saw necessarily Lee Harvey Oswald fire the shots. There's one man who claims he saw a man in the window and then looked at the window when the shots were fired and saw that same man. But within the School Book Depository, 6th floor to the 2nd floor, concurrently with when the shots were fired, people that Lee Harvey Oswald worked with at the School Book Depository say he was there drinking a Coke calmly.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about being in a street and looking up at the 6th floor of a building. Could you really tell who?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you could tell, but like...
And this was someone apparently across the street. And to understand Dealey Plaza, you could take the table that we're recording at now and make a mock-up of Dealey Plaza. It's a large area.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand now. Is like, he was on the 2nd floor, wasn't out of breath, seemed perfectly fine. He has alibis. He's completely safe.
Alibi-ish. No one knows where he was at exactly 12:30. We're talking 12:31.
Still, that's a couple of floors to get down real quick.
But this is the official story. So he's there. They're rushing JFK to the hospital. The official story of what happens between the shots fired and when the suspect, Lee Harvey Oswald, is arrested is 70 minutes. So 12:30 to 2:10 p.m., okay? He's seen on the 2nd floor. JFK's on his way to the hospital. Lee Harvey Oswald leaves, gets on a bus. He goes across town. Supposedly, about 45 minutes after this occurred, he shoots a police officer by the name of J.D. Tippett. He will die the next day from his wounds. Several witnesses to that state that it wasn't Oswald, that someone not matching Oswald's description entirely fired those shots against Tippett, because there was no reason for Tippett to, one, have stopped Oswald, and two, why would Oswald risk more exposure? That's, again, me bleeding into the official narrative. But so J.D. Tippett is mortally wounded at 45 minutes. 70 minutes after the shooting, Lee Harvey Oswald is arrested at the Texas Theater while watching Cry of the Battleship. He is taken into police custody and interrogated until...
But he was originally arrested at the theater because of the shots that he supposedly fired on the police officer, not because of the shots on the president.
No, because of the shots on the president. So
the police arrested him, not like the CIA, Secret Service, or the FBI?
Yeah. Well, you have to remember, in 1963, it's not illegal. It's not a crime in and of itself to kill the president. Murder is still murder, but it's not illegal to assassinate the president.
Yeah, I mean, this is
What do you mean by it?
So there is...
I was just going to say, like, this is why the president is now in a bulletproof car.
No, there was
because they were in an open cavalcade.
No, there was actually a picture that I saw somewhere on the internet with when JFK was in the convertible, and there was a sign. I don't know if this was photoshopped or not, but there was a sign that says, "Who needs a bulletproof car or whatever? Like, why would the president need to ride in one?"
So part of it is JFK wants to be young and vivacious and seen as the people's president, a playboy, which,
yeah, I get it during that time.
Yeah. So he didn't take as many precautions as he should have, especially considering a lot of things that happened before this day.
Yeah, he wasn't a non-controversial president.
Yeah.
Yes, and this was not the first assassination attempt on him.
No, so like when you're saying it wasn't illegal to assassinate the president,
so it wasn't.
What do you mean by that?
It wasn't a federal crime. It's still like in the state of Texas.
Crime. Oh, okay. So you would be charged with two things. You would be charged with murder and a federal crime of killing the president in today's time.
And I can't even say for certain if that's true now.
Because to me, it just sounds like murder either way, no matter what it is.
But that's tried by the state of Texas. It's in their jurisdiction, the city of Dallas, the Dallas police, and the Dallas district attorney's office.
Okay, so because it wasn't a federal crime, the federal government couldn't take it over.
Technically, they should have had nothing to do with the investigation or anything that happened after.
Okay.
I mean, murder and assassination are two different things.
But
it
wasn't illegal to assassinate a president
at that time.
Right.
Okay.
So he's arrested 70 minutes after the fact. JFK has been pronounced dead for an hour and 10 minutes. They take him into custody. They interview him until 11:24. And he's saying he's a patsy. He was set up. I didn't do it. I was framed. All of these things. But what we do know for sure is that 11:20 a.m. on the 24th of November, a local nightclub owner in Dallas by the name of Jack Ruby, as Oswald was being led out of the police office to be transported to the prison, the media was allowed in. And because there was so much media, the van or car that was supposed to take him couldn't back up to the door as close as they would have liked, and nobody really cared. Ruby, it's established, he knew the officers, they knew him. I mean, he owns a nightclub in Dallas. Of course they're going to know him. There are other reasons that people can speculate on. I'm not going to get into those. But he walks up to Lee Harvey Oswald and shoots him in the abdomen. And Lee Harvey Oswald dies of those wounds.
Okay.
He's murdered on live television.
Yeah.
This whole scene played out on live television.
So, okay, I'm just trying to figure out the timeline here. So, JFK was shot at 12:30.
12:30 p.m.
12:30, pronounced dead at 1 p.m. within the same day.
Yes.
Okay. They arrested Lee Harvey Oswald 70 minutes after 12:30.
Yep.
And then once they're how long did it take from him being in jail to being transported? How long was that?
A day and a half.
So he was in jail a day and a half, and that's when the nightclub owner shot him.
They're transporting him from the police station in Dallas to another location.
Okay.
And when they're walking him out of the building, normally the vehicle would be backed up as close to the building as possible, but there was so much press interest that the vehicle couldn't get there. This allowed a throng of reporters and other people, including Jack Ruby, to get in there. Pop, pop. No more Oswald. Oswald's side of the story forever silenced.
No, because I was assuming that this all happened within one day. I was like, that's a lot to go down.
No, but I mean, either way, it happened really, really fast.
Yeah, like in a 2-day span, the president was assassinated, the supposed killer was killed, the other officer that
this was just an officer, and this was in a part of town that he didn't necessarily have any business being in.
Did he survive?
The officer?
Yeah.
No, he was mortally wounded. He died on 11/23.
Okay, so the only other person that may or may not have said that Lee Harvey Oswald was the one that killed him died as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody involved
died.
Yeah, they're gone.
Holy crap.
And this is where we need to get into a little bit of Oswald's background. He joined the Marine Corps. When he was a kid living in New Orleans, he joined the I'm going to kick myself for not remembering the exact name of this. I should have written it down. The
children military thing?
No, the Civil Air Patrol.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to go like ROTC or something. Yeah.
No, it was called the Civil Air Patrol. And one of his commanding officers in the Civil Air Patrol was a man named David Ferry, who will come up later. David Ferry is a very interesting person if you go off of what is said about him later. But anyway, he's in the Lee Harvey Oswald's in the Civil Air Patrol. And then in 1956, when he's 17, he joins the U.S. Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. So he becomes a Marine. And his specialty is U.S. radar and aircraft tracking. So he's taking images taken by U.S. spy planes, developing them, looking at them, and he's transferred to Atsugi Air Base in Japan, which is near Tokyo. And there are lots of stories about his time in the Marines, how he was trying to learn Russian or taught himself Russian, and his communist leanings, his womanizing. I mean, there's stories that go as deep as him contracting, the clap from a Japanese prostitute that was actually chlamydia. Oh. That was actually a Russian spy, all sorts of stuff.
She was.
Of course she was, because
that's how you get them.
That's what this story needed, was just a Russian hooker that was actually Japanese.
You clap, and then you walk out of the room.
You know why they call it the clap, right? Because when you have it, it hurts to pee so bad that you slap your hand on the side of the bathroom stall.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
That's
chlamydia.
Yeah.
I assumed it was the minute you walk out of the door, you just start clapping and just let them know.
Yes. Thank you. That was fantastic. I hope it was good for you too. By the way, you have chlamydia. Here's an antibiotic.
Aw, thanks.
Why leave a 20 on the nightstand when you can just leave azithromycin?
Such nice hookers.
Anyway, so he has classified, top secret clearance with the U.S. military.
And he has lots of suspectable things that make him targetable.
Yeah.
Or make him a reason to be considered a suspect.
Yes. So here's the thing. So he joins in 1956. 3 years later, so he's dishonorably discharged from the military because he accidentally shoots himself in the elbow with an unauthorized 22 caliber handgun.
A dude who's well trained in the military since he was a kid,
and is supposedly a decent sniper. He tried to become a sniping specialist in the military. He's not that great of a shot. He's a good shot, but he isn't he's not going to be the one sent on a mission first. He's going to be 12th in line.
No, I understand that, but the thing I'm getting at is that if you've been that long in the military, that close to firearms for so long, shooting yourself in the elbow on accident doesn't seem...
Yeah.
I don't know. People shoot themselves.
Accidents happen, okay? I've got a gun cabinet over here full of my dad's guns.
But it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be safe.
Right, but I don't know how to use them.
Yeah, that's why I could
very easily blow off my thumb.
But see, that makes more sense. You don't know how to use them. He's been trained since he was a kid.
Right, but accidents happen. Even our friend Galen could accidentally blow off his thumb.
Get drunk. I mean...
Yeah, Nemo gets drunk. Him and Josh decide to go out to a quarry and shoot some 22 shells. Don't do that. All of a sudden, Nemo's losing a finger.
Why is it me losing everything?
I don't want to lose a finger.
Well, I don't want to lose a finger either. Definitely if it's not the right finger. What happens if it's the middle finger? I'm just not going to
let you guys touch guns when you're drinking.
Lisa is the responsible adult. My dad took me out to shoot a couple times before he passed away, and there was a dead cow there that was being eaten by coyotes. So I got to shoot the dead cow.
Oh, I thought you were going to shoot the coyote.
No, I could. We had a gopher.
Doing the natural thing.
We had a gopher in the backyard, and I had to, like, Heather's like, just hit it with the thing. I had a daisy digger after we flooded its hole, and it was like trying to get out. It was the most heartbreaking thing. I could not take another mammal's life. I'll kill a spider. I hit a gopher in the head with a daisy digger, and I cried for an hour and a half.
According
She's a monster.
to one of my professors, to get rid of gophers, you bury beer bottles to where only an inch is showing, and the sound of the wind going over them drives them crazy and makes them leave. Tidbit, according to my professor.
We have to try this.
We have beer, and we have gophers.
And we have a shovel, and a trowel.
And there's wind outside.
And the ground is wet, so it'll be easy to dig.
All the work's already done for us.
We're going to gopher-proof this yard.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to JFK and Lee Harvey Oswald. So, Oswald, the crack shot that he is, pops himself in the elbow and gets discharged from the military. I honestly can't remember if it was honorably or dishonorably.
Could you actually get discharged just for that alone?
It was an unauthorized weapon.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot
He
that for a
should
second.
not have had that 22 at the time that he did.
Okay.
So they're like,
That sounds dishonorable.
Yeah.
get out.
That's already susceptible based on how much information he already knows.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So Oswald, in 1959, October 31st, Halloween, he's made his way to Moscow in Russia, the Soviet Union. He walks into the U.S. Embassy in the Soviet Union and says, "Hey, y'all, I don't want to be U.S. citizen no more. Here's my passport. Here's my ID. I'm out."
Huh.
Yeah.
Wait, what year?
1959. 4 years
Before
JFK is assassinated.
Okay.
Okay? So he goes to the USSR. He's taught himself Russian. He goes over there with about $1,500 US and says, "You know what? I don't want to be American anymore. Long live communism."
Why?
Exactly. Why does he do this? We don't know.
I mean, there was a lot of communism going around. This was like the blacklisting of Hollywood and all of that. All that was going on at the same time.
But you also have to base it off like how much information does this guy know? What does he know that we don't know that made him make this decision in the first place?
Well, and he's been handling top secret U.S. radar information, as well as viewing images taken by the spy planes flying over the USSR. So, who knows what information he has that could help the Soviets? Supposedly, he had nothing that would help the Soviets.
What year did the Cuban Missile Crisis happen?
61 or 62?
So that was during JFK, right?
Yes,
when he was still alive.
It was.
Because I know that was a big problem.
62.
Because that was going to ignite like World War III or something.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So based on what information he knows at that time, given to the USSR, could have...
Maybe.
Okay.
All we can do on that is create another conspiracy theory, which, when we're done, maybe we'll get on the internet and do that. Who knows?
Anyone doesn't want to be a part of that.
I mean, there was a lot of things going on in JFK's presidency, though. There was the race to the moon. There was, end of Cold War stuff.
No, but he made enemies. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because then you know that you're doing something right at that point.
The Kennedys have been making enemies
since they were Kennedys.
Since they were Kennedys. So
I mean, they called their land Camelot. Like it wasn't the land. It was the presidency. It was the family. Yeah.
Right. But it was more than that. Camelot wasn't just a place. It was a moment in time.
But you have to look at
what Camelot is in Arthurian legend also. But I mean, that's a lot of presumption there.
It's true.
No, but you have to, even if it is a lot of presumption and all that, out of all the presidents that we've had, you have to look at the Kennedys that actually trying to make a change.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, also he literally was a playboy, and he was, stinking filthy rich, and, a lot of people just didn't like him.
I don't know that he was born rich, though. Like, I didn't know that he came from
came from money.
Yeah.
Like money. I didn't know it was like money. Just like
came
a little
from
bit.
Money.
Money.
Like serious money.
Because are the Kennedys they're still a prevalent name in today's time, right?
Yeah. They're they still hold offices, public offices. I think Edward Kennedy just stepped down as governor of, or a representative from...
I don't know. I guess I haven't been following the Kennedys after the Two Brothers assassination. Well, I never followed them in the first place, but...
You've been following them since 63?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And following them.
I mean, we can get into Sirhan and the RFK assassination on another day if you want to. But yeah, so this story is so complex. I'm pretty sure we're gonna need probably another hour to get through this. So, bear with us, guys. I hope I'm doing the story justice so far. Oswald has just defected to Russia, and within 3 years, he's back on U.S. soil with a wife and a child.
Mm.
How did he get back after he forfeited his passport?
So, on Halloween of 1959, he walks into the U.S. Embassy and goes, "Here you go. Here are my papers. I'm no longer an American. I'm a Russian." Russia accepts him as an expatriated U.S. citizen and allows him to stay in the USSR. And from all accounts, he is just not viewed as super desirable or super... he was not the asset that people thought he would be.
Nobody wants him.
No, but yeah, this is a guy that supposedly nobody wants.
Man without a country.
Well, no, you had to think about,
No country for Lee Harvey.
He got honorably discharged because of his stupidity.
We're not sure there's honorable.
Okay, so the USSR took him in because they probably knew who he was because he was staying there, and they're like, okay, this guy's a military informant. He knows
high-class military,
he has information. Holy crap, this guy just forfeited over his American passport. He wants to be one of us? Okay, we can get some information. And then they find out that he doesn't know jack shit. And then they want to forfeit him over. If I was an American at that point in that embassy, you already forfeited over all your rights. I wouldn't let you back in.
Look, Nemo has just brought up another red flag. He was able to get back into the U.S. in a snap. It took almost no effort for this man who, one, had top secret clearance before he defected and before he was discharged, goes to Russia, lives there for 3 years, marries a higher class Russian man's daughter named Marianne. Or, sorry, not Marianne. Marianne's your sister, Lisa.
She is.
Marina, and has a daughter, June Oswald.
Okay.
June? Yeah, that's not his mom's name. That's his daughter's name.
Sounds right.
June Oswald is his daughter. And he is able to repatriate himself as a U.S. citizen and bring Marina and June back to the U.S. with him 3 years later and get a loan from the U.S. government for $457 to repatriate himself and reestablish himself in the U.S.
Now it just sounds like a spy.
Exactly.
From the very beginning. It's like, we need you to have a cover story to get into the USSR so you can get into their main facility, get their information, then come back.
Mm-hmm.
That easy? Being an American soldier? Nah. If I'm in the embassy and this all happened under the accounts that you're saying, you already forfeit over your patriotism by going against our enemy. That's like running away during a war. You gave up. You don't get to come back and think that everything's okay unless you're a spy.
And that is where we are going to cut off episode 1. This is going to be a 2-part episode, just like our boy bands episode was. So let us know how you like this format. But we've discovered that we do talk a lot. If you like listening to us, let us know. Part 2 will be out next week, just like with the boy bands episode. So you get 2 weeks in a row of listening to us nerd here and conspire with Nemo to kill JFK.
It doesn't make any sense.
So, and that is where we are right now, Nemo. Why? This is where the conspiracies start. Why would a man like Oswald be allowed to defect to the Soviet Union and then be brought back into the U.S. so
I honestly
easily?
don't think he would be allowed back in unless he was a spy. And if what you're saying is true, under all these accounts that he was allowed back in and given a loan, my answer is that he's a spy right now.
Okay, well.
And there we are. That is why it is such a big deal. This is where those conspiracy theories come from. So, until next week, we just nerd here, and you do too. You can find us on Patreon, Twitter, and Google Play Music, as well as iTunes, where if you do get to listen to us through the fabulous iTunes, please leave us a review. Any feedback that you have for us is valuable and will help other people find us. So
we just like to know what you know, or like what you think about the podcast and where we can improve, or even give us like tidbits on where to move forward in, you know?
Yeah. And
what you like, what you want to hear.
Yeah.
If you like the conspiracy subject, we're doing this episode because our Roswell episode got such a great response. We're still going to talk about toys and movies and stuff. Don't worry. We're not going to become a conspiracy podcast. But based on Nemo's reaction at the end of that Roswell episode, I could not wait to get back into the studio and do JFK. So that is why we're doing this episode today.
I'm down, man. I'm in this. So, I'm invested now. I want to know.
I mean, as we go through the rest of the story, I'm still having my whiskey Saturday. Nemo's having his coffee a little bit Irish, so we will see how this goes as we delve into the conspiracy side. We've just given you the facts in part 1. Part 2, we're going to delve into the conspiracy, and this is where it gets weird, because we could go over so many of the dozens of conspiracy theories surrounding this, but we're going to go into my favorite. Mary, Fairy, and a Monkey Virus. Dr. Mary Sherman, David Ferry, the polio vaccine, and the monkey virus that is possibly causing a global pandemic of cancer. So stay tuned for part 2.
What the heck?
Yeah, I told you, it gets weird.
Okay.
So tune in next week for another exciting episode of We Just Nerd Here. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.